What's going on? We are here with another review of a comic book. This time we're doing an omnibus. That's why it took me forever to get one uploaded. We're doing Volume 1 of Batman Knightfall. Okay, so off the bat, here we're going to get into the specifics of the book. It has a $99.99 cover price, which you can get it cheaper basically everywhere on the internet. And this book collects Batman Volume 1 Knightfall collects Batman 484 through 500, Batman Shadow of the Bat 16 through 18, Vengeance of Bane number 1, Detective Comics 654 through 666, and Showcase 93, 7, and 8. So, first thing you notice about this, we all know the Knightfall story and what goes on. So the first thing you notice in this is that Sword of Azrael is not in here, which doesn't make any sense. Feels like Sword of Azrael should be included in this. It's not. Whatever. So, Azrael just kind of pops up randomly in the story, and it doesn't make any sense. He just, you're reading the regular story, he hasn't been introduced yet, and then he's on the cover of whatever issue of Batman he is with Robin. It's okay, kind of out of nowhere. But that's the only real introduction issue, because the introduction for Bane, you start off the book with Vengeance of Bane number 1, and that's one of the best origins for any Batman villain. Period. Bane's my favorite Batman villain, though, so I'm biased. This book is, I got it on Amazon for less than $60 shipped. So, and since it came from Amazon, there is a couple dings on the dust jacket, like in these corners down here, and then this corner got a little bit. But it's collected edition, so I don't really worry about like shape it in too much. You're not going to get this graded or anything. Well, I guess you might be able to. I don't know if you can grade Omnibus or not at CGC. Don't grade your Omnibus. That's stupid. But anyway, so yeah, like I was saying, condition not that big of a deal. But it's Amazon, so you're gonna get those little minor dings in there. If you're a little bit more picky than me, you won't like that too much. But you get a pretty cool dust jacket. It's the same as the wraparound cover, except for the dust jacket's got the logos and stuff on them. The spine on the shelf's a little bit annoying. It's got all the writing down here in this corner, so when you're sitting on the shelf, compared to Blackest Night or any of the Bronze, Silver, Golden Age DC books, it's a little bit annoying because it's in a different spot, and it's written a lot smaller just for the size of the book and just looking at it on the shelf. That's annoying, and also it's just kind of, it's the Knightfall Omnibus, but the side has Robin, Killer Croc, Joker on it. You don't even see Bane on the spine. That's kind of annoying. But anyways, we'll get into the story now. Well, actually, we'll do the art first. The art in this, it ranges from great. Every time, Graham Nolan does art for Batman. I love Graham Nolan on Batman. Dixon and Nolan's a great combo for that era of Detective Comics. Jim Aparo is in this too. He does decent work. Sometimes gets a little off with like the knee area and stuff that just kind of off-putting. But for the most part, he's does some good. But there's a few in here that just I can't remember who the artist is for Shadow of the Bat, but I'm not feeling that art at all. I don't know who did it. I don't want to flip through it with a dust jacket on. Always taking that off. I don't remember who did the art for Shadow of the Bat. I don't know, man. I don't mess with it. It's not that good. The Shadow of the Bat stuff is actually, honestly, Alan Grant and Burt Blevins was the one that did Shadow of the Bat. And that, honestly, is probably the weakest part of this omnibus. Actually, no, I take that back. The weakest part of the omnibus is all of the stuff with Ventriloquist. I don't know why that's here. I don't know why Ventriloquist exists. I hate the Ventriloquist. I hate him. I understand that, he's in the story because, everybody gets out of Arkham. And it's got everybody from the Ventriloquist and Maxie Zeus to Joker and Two-Face and Riddler and Scarecrow and stuff like that. But goddamn, the stuff with the Ventriloquist is so lame. It's so stupid. Doesn't need to be in this. I don't know why they put it in the story. It's not like, the DC put it in this omnibus and it didn't need to be here. It's just, a few panels out of every few issues towards the middle and the beginning of the book have this ventriloquist looking for one of his puppets and stuff. with other puppets, and then he ends up killing himself because the two puppets can't get along. The ventriloquist sucks. I hate the ventriloquist. It's so dumb. When you get him in a book like this, where you have such a great villain in Bane, and then you're wasting my time reading this stuff about the ventriloquist, I don't know. That's probably why it took me about a week to get through this damn omnibus, because I love the omnibus. I love the Knightfall story, but some of the other stuff in this just was like the ventriloquist, and was just fucking stupid. It was terrible. There's a Two-Face story in here that also I don't know why. I don't know. There's a Two-Face story in here that's showcased 93, 7, and 8. It's a good story, and it takes place after, and kind of talks about Bruce's back being broken, and kind of goes through what Tim Drake and how he's feeling about that, but I don't know. If you're reading it in omnibus format, kind of mess with the pacing for me, having that just thrown in, kind of tacked on. I don't know. It was a little bit of a pacing problem with just kind of inserting those stories. The stuff with Bane, like I said, is great. I love Bane. If you've never read this, but you've seen The Dark Knight Rises, read this, because this is actual Bane. It's going to make you hate Tom Hardy Bane, though. I like The Dark Knight Rises a hell of a lot less now that I reread this stuff, because I read it a long time ago whenever I was a kid, and just kind of, I probably didn't even read the whole story when I was a kid. I just remember having a reprint of the one 497, where he breaks Batman's back, and I actually have a dollar reprint of it now somewhere in one of my comic boxes over there. I remember reading that reprint and reading a couple other things, but this was actually the first time I read Vengeance of Bane, #1. Love it. Definitely going to be unboxing that sometime on this channel, because I'm going to pick it up. I'm getting the Bane maquette, so it's going to be paired up nice with that. Love that book. Bane's awesome. Bane was already one of my favorite Batman villains. He was up there with Joker and Riddler, but after reading this all the way through, and this is also only Volume 1. There's 2 more books that go with this, Volume 2 and Volume 3. I don't have either of those yet, but Bane's story pretty much wraps up in this one, so you're not going to get all about Bane in the next omnibus, I don't think. Maybe it is. Like I said, I've only read pieces of this story and enjoyed a lot of it. This was my first time reading Vengeance of Bane. Bane is great. Definitely read this. Azrael is awesome. I like the aspect where it was kind of like the Arkham Knight video game, where everybody's loose in Gotham, and it's a hellscape, honestly, worse than it even normally is, which is saying something, because Gotham's a shithole. But everybody's out, and it's kind of like, it's not really a countdown per se, but he's going through and trying to just check all these low-level villains off. Like, was Spikes, the guy with the spikes, he was a pretty stupid villain, but he's going through there. And then Ventriloquist, Riddler was out, Poison Ivy, Scarecrow, Joker teamed up, Killer Croc. Love Killer Croc too, he's also one of my favorites. Amygdala was loose, Maxie Zeus was still stupid as hell, and I wish he didn't exist. But you go through, you can see pretty much all of Batman's villains. They all get to not really shine, don't really have a whole lot of story with them outside of Bane, Riddler a little bit. Joker and Scarecrow have one with the mayor. Killer Croc has a couple of small roles to play in a couple issues, mostly around Azrael. And Bane beats the fuck out of him too. But that's basically all. Penguin's on the cover of here Penguin's down here in this cover. I don't remember seeing Penguin at all in this entire omnibus, honestly. Maybe I'm tripping, but I don't remember him playing a even slight spot at all. But like I said, there's still 2 more, so he probably does have one anyway. He's one of the more popular villains here. But basically everybody but Mr. Freeze and Deathstroke are on here, or in this book. Definitely recommend it. Like I said, it's a nice omnibus to have. It's a good set. I don't know if 3's out of print or not, because some, like Amazon, it's a hell of a lot more expensive than the other 2. And then I think it might be out of stock on in-stock trades, but just because it's out of stock on in-stock trades doesn't mean it's out of print. But definitely go ahead and pick it up and read it. If you just pick up this one, that's all I have so far, and I read it. I enjoyed it. It's a pretty complete story front to back, because it starts with Vengeance of Bane and ends at Batman 500. And these stories are older than me, so if you care about spoilers, you've had more than 27 years. You've had 27 years almost to read this stuff. I don't care if you get about spoilers for a 27-year-old story. So it starts off with Bane, The Vengeance of Bane #1. It ends at Batman 500, where Azrael gets the new suit and beats Bane at, I don't know, I think Town Square or whatever. It's kind of like Times Square for Manhattan, like the Gotham City equivalent of Times Square, where they have their little battle that they do. So it bookends itself well, even though there's 2 other omnibus in the Knightfall series. This one bookends itself pretty well with the Bane stuff. That's why I don't know if Volume 2 is going to continue on to that, because before I got into the omnibus game, I thought that Batman 500 was the end of Knightfall. Clearly I'm an idiot, and yes, I don't know everything. I don't know most things. So I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't know everything, but I thought 500 was the ending of Knightfall before I really got into the omnibus and collected editions and started building the display and stuff and buying key issues and everything. I thought 500 was the end of it because that's how they do these big anniversary issues. They start or end something. So I always thought that was the ending. Clearly I'm wrong because there's 2 other big-ass, thick-ass omnibus for it. So this one's not too big. It's not Blackest Night or Infinity War. Like, it's not a phone book thick like Infinity War is, but it's still pretty good size. When you go to read this omnibus, I know a lot of people, when they get theirs omnibus, they like to lay them flat. I hold mine because I don't want to sit and just stare down at my table like this all the entire time. You can lay this one down pretty well. It's got a decent eye. Let's just flip open to the middle like that. You can lay it down. There's not really a lot of gutter loss, but you got to wait a little bit before you can do that, because you can't really do that right here, or maybe it's just me getting sketched out, but it looks like you're really kind of fucking up the binding of it if you're trying to lay it down like this. There's no gutter loss to it, but it just seems a little sketchy for me to be doing that. I think, I don't know. I held it for most of the time, but once you're in the middle, you can lay it down flat like this, and you can just burn through it real quick. There's no gutter loss. It's perfectly, like I said, it's not one of those phone book ones or one of the glorified trade paperbacks like, Suicide Squad down there, where you can't really lay it down. This one you can lay down. It's pretty well sized. I think this is the size of omnibus most people like. I like the bigger ones just for me, because I don't know, I just think they look cool. Having, that just massive hunk of book like Blackest Night being there, however many billion pages on there. This one though, this is about perfect omnibus size. If you want to get into Batman, you want to get into Batman villains, definitely recommend the Knightfall storyline. Definitely recommend this book. I'm not going to get into too much story, like I said. It's a 27-year-old story. Most people have read it. There's a whole lot of book here, so if I go in and panel for panel break it down like I do for the Superman single issues, we're going to be here for 14 hours. I got Thursday Night Football to watch in a little bit, so I'm not trying to sit here and break down everything, but Arkham Chase, where you go through and get all the villains, is awesome. Everything with Bane is great as always. Can't wait for that complete collection, City of Bane, to come out next month. And Ventriloquist sucks. I hate Ventriloquist. Azrael's awesome. I'm probably going to pick up that McFarlane Azrael now after reading this. Sword of Azrael really should have been in here. But it's a good read. It's 90s comics, man. You can't go wrong with 90s comics. 90s comics was... You can go very wrong with 90s comics. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but 90s comics at the height were some great-ass stories like this and Spider-Man. Definitely recommend it. Go get Bane. Go get Knightfall. Read about some Bane stuff. And if you have a CGC 9.8 Vengeance of Bane, feel free to just give it to me for free, because I'll love you forever. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up for me. I hope you sort of enjoyed me talking about this omnibus. I appreciate you clicking on it, even though you're not still around. You at least clicked on it, and I thank you for that. You have a good night. See you next time. Go Pack Go.